A very warm welcome to one and all present here. Welcome to the valedictory ceremony of the first KFCRI Virtual Mediation Competition. I'm really humbled to see quite a number of participants, and I'm really glad that the judges of this competition were able to join us. It has been a grind for the last 3 days. I understand for the participants, the judges, and the organizers as well. I can attest to that. And there have been quite a lot of interesting rounds, and the participants have brought up quite a number of new strategies and innovations to the competition, for which I'm really glad, and I am sure I learned a lot, and I hope that the participants did too. So now I would like to call upon Mr. Shahrukh Kumar to give a brief introduction of the institution KFCRI. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. So first of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt greetings to the honorable dignitaries, to the honorable judges of the competition, the participants, the coordinators, and all others who have joined the valedictory section of the first KFCRI Virtual Mediation Competition. So this has been this competition has really been a success. So my sincere thanks to everyone who has been a part of this. I would take this opportunity to share a few words about the institution Kovise Foundation Conflict Resolution International. So Kovise Foundation Conflict Resolution International, KFCRI, is an ADR institution in itself and a training and accrediting body. So KFCRI functions under the aegis of Kovise Foundation, which is a non-governmental organization taking up grassroots level projects and various other social works. So speaking about KFCRI as an ADR institution. So when I say ADR institution, we are indulged in the resolution of disputes of all kinds through the multifarious alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, including arbitration, mediation, conciliation, negotiation, and we also provide the service of tribunal secretary and virtual dispute resolution service provider. As an ADR institution, we have a set of tailor-made rules for all these ADR mechanisms. And we are proud to say that we are the only institution in India which has a specific rules for tribunal secretaries, and the first institution in India to establish a specific guidelines for virtual dispute resolution proceedings. Apart from being an ADR institution, KFCRI also takes the role of a training and an accrediting body. So when I say accreditation, we provide accreditation to practitioners in all fields of ADR, as I already said, arbitration, mediation, conciliation, negotiation, and tribunal secretary. This accreditation is by way of training as well as exemptions. So we, for the already existing practitioners who are having extensive practice in the field of ADR, we provide them accreditation, and we also train people who are beginners in this field, and we also provide them accreditations. So apart from these two major roles, KFCRI has also taken up the role of a think tank. So as a think tank, Kovise Foundation Conflict Resolution International has, in collaboration with various ADR institutions, universities, colleges, and ADR centers, has conducted various workshops, brief sessions, research sessions, and a numerous number of webinars and competitions. Quite recently, we had the first KFCRI online ADR essay competition, and to add a feather in the cap, we are right now hosting this. We have hosted this first virtual mediation competition. We are also happy to hold hands with Legality Viability in conducting this competition. So, without much delay, I would now like to hand over to Mr. Shwetan.
Now I invite Ms. Kanika to give a brief introduction on legality viability as well.
I, Kanika Raheja, on the behalf of Legality Viability, would like to welcome amongst us Shri Amar Vivekji. As a practicing attorney for last 30 years and a former Additional Advocate General of Haryana, Sir has handled entire government litigation, handled heavy state cases of the infrastructure disputes, commercial laws, electricity regulatory compliance matter, and the cases of CLUs, land laws, environment laws, and many more. He has also handled the arbitration dispute resolution, disputes of the kinds which involve IPR, copyright, trademark, patent right, and IT laws, and etc. He is the sir has been standing counsel for Punjab University in the last for more than 6 years. Sir has also been the counsel for the various government bodies like Punjab Markfeed and Punjab Milk Feed, Bharat Electronics Limited, etc. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Now, before we would like you to share your humble words, I would really like if Mr. Shanmugadev gives a brief report of the entire event so that the participants as well as the judges can be better informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shwetan, and thank you entire team for giving me the opportunity to speak upon the event report on this entire competition. So before I go on speaking about the event and how it actually successfully finished, I would like to thank few people before I proceed on. First is Mr. Inbavajayan sir and Mrs. Suri Narmada Inbavajayan, who are the founders of KFCRI as well as the Kovise Foundation, which is the parent body, for guiding us to make this competition happen. And second is thank you the team Legality Viability for collaborating with us to make this competition hit at a very huge level. And next is our KFCRI managing committee team. It wouldn't have been actually run without their support. It is like I can call them at the midnight of 12 and then tell them, please do this, check on the score, who is not available, whatever. They are like 24 hours running behind me, and they gave an overwhelming response. Thank you to the managing committee team. And next is KFCRI Associates. I would definitely regret my future if I didn't name them right now, my entire associate team. So first is Mr. Suman Balaji and Mr. Karthik, Mr. Vishwajit Srinivasan, and Ms. Pooja Chandrasekhar, Ms. Samina Sayed, and we had our Ms. Gana Priya and Mr. Kavin Shakti. They are all our research associate team. They functioned as the drafting committee for this competition, and they filled the almost all the gaps which we lacked, and they didn't see the look upon the time what they have to work, what type of work they have to do, when they have to do. They didn't do anything. It was purely a team work, and without them we couldn't have really achieved this. And next is our KFCRI intern team. So they are very new to us, but they worked with us like we had a relationship for more than a year or two. I should also definitely thank them by naming the entire intern team, KFCRI intern team, who supported this competition at a huge level. So I would like to start with Miss Jessica, Miss Ayushi, Miss Divya, and Miss Sandhya, and Mr. Kishore, Mr. Palaniswamy Anam sir, and we had Miss Aishwarya Gar, and these are the interns. And I'm sorry if I left a few names. Maybe I left out here, but you people are definitely in my heart and mind, and I wouldn't forget what all work you did, and definitely. And next is a huge thanks and huge applause to the entire judge panel. We started this competition, we initiated this competition in a very short while. We didn't have I should be very honest here, we didn't have a proper plan like when to proceed on, because if you compare with other competition, they have a huge plan like when to go on. They will give a minimum duration for the judges to acknowledge, and for the competition to be outed, proposition to be outed, all such thing. But this didn't happen here. As we all are accustomed to the new normal, this also happened in a new normal situation, whereby the judges all, thank you so much for accepting our short invite, and extending your presence through the virtually, and sharing the piece of knowledge with all the participants gathered here. Thank you. That was really overwhelming. And thank you for the great support, and your continuous dedication and your time and effort is making KFCRI to run in a smooth wheel. Thank you so much. And next is, I would like to thank the participants. I'm really not sure, and I'm really not very well aware of a competition, especially in this in the think of in the thought of social distancing, and during this course of pandemic. It is very difficult for a competition to happen, and thanks to KFCRI, the whole establishment, the experience as a virtual case manager, and the experience is managing and competition and managing everything, the liberty what we had boosted us and gave the immunity for all the interns, for all the association, and even the managing committee people to make this competition running successfully. Because the participants, somewhere they had network glitches. We have to sit, and we have to hold our seat tightly, so that we should also ensure everything. We should what our primary goal is, that they shouldn't feel the difference between what is happening virtually and physically. And I hope the participants, we gave the exact experience what you expected from us. And I apologize if we happen to make any small errors or mistakes from our side. And I think you all must also observed, we had our limited resource, both in time and both in an online platform. Yet we were able to conduct the whole preliminary rounds in a single day. We had almost 30 registrations, which includes the whole claim counsel pays and the mediators. So we happened to conduct the entire preliminary day in a single day, that is on 10th of September, which started it started running for the entire KFCRI team from morning 8 till night 9 or 10. And we also worked behind 12 a.m. actually. The same thing happened with the semi and the quarters and the semi round. So I think the participant also well satisfied, and they had a good experience actually, both in the learning from the virtual platform and the learning of the mediation. So thank you so much everyone for making this competition huge success, and making it running without any hassle. So I would finish by saying a quote or a saying, which is we are all very well aware, that an ounce of mediation is always a far better than a tons of litigation. I guess we all acknowledged the same. And I just want to nobly remind everyone that this was only our goal and initiative, and we worked only in the same awareness. So, and I hope we established the same. So thank you all. And thank you, the last but not least, thank you, Mr. Amar Vivek, for accepting our invitation and adding a special glitch to the, you are like a star to this competition, like to this valedictory function. You're a special guest. Thank you. So thank you for accepting the invite and enlightening us. So I would like to ask Mr. Amar Vivek, sir, to please give on a few words.
Good evening, dear friends. Sorry if I don't take names and thank everyone, but please accept my heartiest greetings and congratulations. In fact, when I begin with a feeling of sadness that I suffered a loss of not being a part of this great event for the past 3 days. So I have only joined you at the very otherwise boring and lackluster valedictory program, which is more or less a pre-program before we have tea and snacks, of course, virtually. But I miss the cream part of it, and I would really request the KFCRI team that hereinafter it will be my proud privilege, to be part of your activities than being a mere ritualistic to come and offer a few words at the end of the session. But anyway, thank you very much for making me a part of it. You see, mediation, as we all know, in real life, it stems from two aspects. The first aspect is honesty and sincerity of the mediator. No doubt today in India, for being empaneled as a mediator, one requires to undergo a 40 hours compulsory mediation training by a Supreme Court appointed committee. And after the successful completion of that training, the persons are enrolled as mediators. They could be social workers, they could be lawyers, they could be retired judges, or whatever. Why this training is required? Well, the training is symbolic of the fact that as a mediator, one has to be extremely patient. He has to be extremely confident, he or she, that I will be able to break the deadlock. You see, I just give you a common scenario. Today in India and China, in between them, USA is offering its mediation many a times. But from India side, there is a stiff resistance that we don't want it. So if I am to ask myself and try to answer why India is resisting a mediation from a third party, bilateral relations with another neighboring nation, is due to the fact that a mediator should not hijack the proceedings and try to become a judge. The moment a mediator tries to overhaul or suppress the will of the parties, there the mediation comes to an end. We all know that when we are in a theater or a cinema, and there is a complete darkness, but somewhere in a remote corner, we see exit board where light is on. So, seeing that exit board, we know that there is a route, escape route, or there is an exit route to this theater. Similarly, throughout the mediation, it is the bounden duty of the mediator to keep the mediation process live and to keep the interest of the parties in the mediation process alive. I'm just taking to a common situation. There is a dispute between husband and wife. When they are friends, they are best of the friends. But when it comes to washing dirty linen outside, probably there could not be worst enemies. Now suppose a mediator tries to mediate between a husband and wife dispute. Three things he has to bear in mind. One, that the dispute is only for some misunderstanding which has acquired dangerous proportions, due to which the couple could not settle the dispute between themselves, and they have decided to take the help of a third person. Most of the times we miss the point, we means mediators, miss the point that dispute is never what the parties state in so many words in front of a mediator. Mediator will have to read the reason behind the dispute. Suppose a wife is to say before a mediator that there is an interference of husband's family in our affairs. Now, how the mediator should interpret this complaint of the wife? He should not look at the literal complaint, because the moment wife will make this complaint and the mediator will broach the issue with the husband, he will say, no, no, she does not like to respect my family. So the dispute is bound to further tighten up, and it will close the possibility of a settlement. The mediator has to understand whether the husband is giving sufficient time and is maintaining the dignity of the wife as a wife in the family. So many things we have to understand beyond the boundaries of the dispute. That is the beauty of a mediator who's trying to settle the dispute in all earnest. Of course, historically, we know from Indian context that Mahatma Gandhi, who started with as a practicing lawyer, his career, he was one of the very, very versatile mediator, because most of the disputes which he handled, they ended in mediation. So when we are a lawyer or a legal professional, we have to understand one basic facet of our life, that if we resolve a dispute between two battling factions, we are not losing on our practice. We are not in any way compromising with our professional returns. Rather, we are adding a feather in our cap of being close to someone's hearts. As we know, in litigation, one party loses and the other party, which wins, probably will still have some kind of grievances which it could not ventilate earlier. Likewise, the losing party will always have grievances. But mediation is a win-win situation. The basic difference between litigation and mediation is that in mediation, it is the parties who decide their course of action. Mediator is only a facilitator. He only sits impartially, independently, but at the same time hopeful that through his passive techniques, he is able to allow the parties to continue to remain on the settlement table. Because so long as he will keep the parties on the settlement table, there will be a possibility that mediation will result in settlement. So therefore, it lies upon the wisdom, passion, belief, and confidence of the mediator, how he handles a particular dispute. We all know last year, Supreme Court had appointed a very high level committee to resolve what we call as Ram Janmabhoomi dispute. Now, one of the things which we were able to read in the press, that the parties to the dispute perhaps were not comfortable with the presence of one or two mediators. If the parties, because see, parties will always have some kind of doubt or some kind of anxiety as to whether the mediator is absolutely independent and bona fide. Therefore, it is the technique of the mediator that through his conduct, he or she is able to win the confidence of the parties, that I am absolutely independent and unbiased. The moment a mediator tries to assert himself or force upon his own viewpoint upon the parties, then the mediation will take a back seat and the personal interest of the mediator will start overriding, which will eclipse the mediation process. So I have many illustrations where disputes have been resolved or the disputes could not be resolved through mediation. Keeping in view the time, I'll just try to share one or two of them. You see, in Haryana, in Gurgaon town, the government of Haryana was building a 18 kilometers national peripheral road, which was to be 150 meters wide, and it was to connect Dwarka, the premium airport spot of Delhi, with Gurgaon. Now, there were about 1100 houses which were required to be uprooted, and the land acquisition process had resulted in litigation. Some 1100 cases had been filed in the High Court, where the High Court had granted interim stay of disposition. And the interim stay continued for 8 years. Several senior lawyers from Supreme Court, they were all the time deliberating, arguing the cases, due to which the High Court was unable to reach the decision. Because on one hand, the project had its own prime importance, and at the other hand, the oustees who were to be ousted from their houses, which they had built in with a lot of efforts, expense, their life's earnings, they were all to be dislocated. So it so happened that when I came into the picture, I proposed to the government of Haryana that we can nominate a high profile panel and we can start mediation process. So with 1100 odd allottees or the plot holders, we were to start the mediation, which was in itself a mammoth task because each one had their own nuances, difficulties, issues. So we requested all of them that let us bring all the problems on a common platform so that we can address them one by one. Otherwise, everybody would be ventilating one's grievances and we will all not be able to solve. And in a matter of about 12 to 14 sittings, we proposed a very, very attractive rehabilitation package for the oustees, and the government readily agreed to that. A definite time frame was given within which the government would make allotments of alternate sites, will give them compensation, will give them rehabilitation, will give them electricity connections, etc., 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 so that these people could shift from the current sites to the alternate place. Now, one could never imagine that in a land acquisition proceedings, the mediation could also be successful, particularly when one side was the government and the other side happened to be about 1100 people. Now, what I want to draw before all of you is that with mediation, since it is a win-win situation, it is possible to resolve the most complex disputes. While it may be very difficult to resolve very ordinary disputes also sometimes, if the mediator is not sincere, or he does not have confidence, or the parties are behaving in such a diametrically opposite manner that we are not able to reach the settlement. But the last word on mediation is whether the dispute results in settlement or not. Process of mediation is never a failure. Mediation itself is success because the feelings, the sentiments, sometimes we call it ego of the parties, when it is brought on a table and parties are made to sit in front of each other, they are able to appreciate others' viewpoint. And in the long run, whether through mediation or otherwise, the parties might rethink that they were fighting for nothing. I remember a very bitter matrimonial dispute which was continuing for 18 years. The marriage had become 27 years old, and the two daughters from the marriage, the elder one was about 25 and a half, 26 years. The younger one was 24 years. Husband was an army officer. He owned number of properties. The wife, along with daughters, was occupying a very prime property, husband's farmhouse in Dehradun. And the parties were at logger's heads. So it so happened that we were able to mediate between the parties. The wife was asked that she has to perform the marriage of the daughters. How would she be doing it single-handedly? So she said, no, it is the duty of my husband to come and perform the marriage. So the husband said, when will I feel shy? I will always join you. So when we found that there was positivity between the parties, we started bringing the parties closer step by step. And would you believe that the husband conditionally agreed to go to his farmhouse to perform the marriage of the daughter, stay there for about 1 month. And after 1 month, he said that he will come back and then he'll have a relook at the litigation. But after 1 month, both husband and wife, they came back saying that we have settled our dispute ourselves. So I am sure each one of us who is here, who has passed through the process of mediation, is conscious of this fact that with mediation, it is possible. So if it is possible, it will be success. That is the belief with which we should carry on. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of you. Over to the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening us with sharing your experience as well. And now I would like to call upon our founder, Mr. Inbov Jain, sir, to give the keynote speech. Please, sir.
Thank you, Shanmugh Dev. It is really a privilege for me on behalf of KFCRI to organize, first of all, this first virtual national mediation competition along with Legality Viability. And secondly, I'm very much happy to have Mr. Amar Vivek, the former Additional Advocate General, to deliver his enlightening speech about mediation, and it was really a thought-provoking speech. And to my very interesting part, when I was just looking into his profile, particularly I was very happy to see that he has done his Masters in Business Administration at Sri Sathya Sai University. A very blessed place for anyone in the universe to spend his education, particularly the Masters in Business Administration. And for others understanding, it is the Puttaparthi in Andhra Pradesh, wherein you have to go at least once in a lifetime to have the blessings of, it is special. We can't just say by a few words. As Mr. Amar Vivek was highlighting the concept of mediation, and very interestingly on the concept of land acquisition being taken to mediation. It is going to be the future. And the win-win situation, what is going to be the mantra of mediation, is rightly taken by KFCRI, as well as the legally viability and the participants. Very interestingly, the participants from the preliminary rounds till the finals, the participants, the students done an abundant work, wherein now the mediation is going to be the new normal, wherein the courts are virtually going, and when the virtually process of courts handling the cases, it is always the best mechanism which has to be adopted. The earlier understanding of mediation to be an alternative dispute resolution, so oftenly being advocated by many of us. I think many of the judges who spend their valuable time judging the competition, all would accept this particular version, that the alternative, the word alternative is now being paradigmically shifted to an accepted dispute resolution. That is a new normal. And in that way, this competition also went in a very, really an acceptable manner. And it has to be appreciated, and hope that it will also be authenticated by the existing mechanisms by the Supreme Court or the High Court, which is facilitating the mediation in a really a rapid and well recognized manner. With this few words, I like to sum up my keynote speech, a small speech of a couple of minutes. It should not prolong, so that the teams should be waiting for the final results, and who's going to be the best, who's going to be second. Forget about it. Mediation as such has been really taken the prime role of the dispute resolution mechanism of late from past 2 or 3 years. As Mr. Amar was mentioning about the historic dispute which is being facilitated by mediation, that's Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid dispute. Quite early in the same year, there was a very interesting development wherein the Honorable Supreme Court asked the government to have a feasible study. Why can't you bring a mediation law or a mediation act in a very prominent way? And they also facilitated and recommended the creation of the Motor Accident Mediation Authority, MAMA. It was a very interesting move by the Apex Court as an observation, asked the government to consider to have an Indian Mediation Act, as well as to have this authority to deal with at least the mediation, the dispute pertaining to the motor accident claims, which predominantly has a lot of consequences on the victims and their family. That is a great move by the Apex Court. And all these development in 2019, along with the government initiative to endorse, particularly by way of signing the Singapore Convention on Mediation, which is going to be facilitating a mediation law in our country also. All these three development in 2019 really has given a valid opening, or you can say in a modern way of understanding the terminology. It is the path. It is a golden pathway, what we all, the practitioners, lawyers, or any diversified professionals into the dispute resolution mechanism, to take it very seriously. And if you take that, the young minds, the students who have not only who have participated in this competition, who are all interested in this ADR mechanisms, would have a great beginning. That beginning, which what our father of nation expected much early, some century back itself, that will become a reality. And being a country wherein we have a lot of spirituality and a lot of very interesting mythological background, the word mediation is not new to us. It can be used in different terminologies, whether it can be the Mahajans or the Panchayats or any non-state judicial system. all are considered to be the mediation. That mediation now is going to have a proper structure. That structure, if we all are going to effectively handle, the most important thing is that we have to handle it properly. It is like normally a package coming from Flipkart or whatever the latest e-commerce. Handle with care. We have to handle this particular concept in a proper way. If you are properly trained, be very clear that we have to properly get trained to be a good mediator. And if a properly trained or a well-trained mediator is going to handle that particular ADR mechanism, then mediation is going to be the future, and mediation is going to be the first career for at least law students, and mediation is going to be the only alternative to arbitration. Dave?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was really a privilege to get all your words. Despite his busy schedule, Mr. Jawad sir has managed to be here. I would request Mr. Jawad sir to share briefly feedback or any comments to the participants, please, sir, if it is okay for you, sir.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank my good friend Inba Vijayan and Shanmuga and the whole team for inviting me to be a judge in this excellent competition. I wish I was a part of it from the beginning, though I was able to witness the finals. And all I can say to the finalists is that you have done an excellent job. Winning or losing is not the criterion. The fact is that you showed the spirit of mediation. You showed that you can collaborate. You showed that you can work as a team. You showed that the solution is not to fight against each other, but to find a way that would be, useful to both of you, which would be good for you and good for the other team. So that is the essence of mediation. And it's, as I said earlier when I was giving you the feedback, I would say that, you guys are really lucky to get these opportunities, which 33 years back when I started my practice, we did not have. Sometimes, like how a father, gets envious of his own son. Similarly, I sometimes feel that tinge of envy that I did not get that opportunity, but I'm very grateful that at least now, in my late age, I got this opportunity, and I have also got the opportunity of, training a lot of youngsters to take part in the competitions, conducting coaching classes for them. So it has been a real privilege, and it's such a pleasure working with the young blood. Mediation has come a long way, and it is creating a lot of waves. We have recently had the Bar Council announcing that every law college should have a course in mediation. Mr. Amar Vivek has, from his rich experience, he has pointed out the various instances where mediation has been used effectively. Basically, I recall the words of Justice Basant, who is now a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. He was then a judge of the Kerala High Court, and I went for my very first training program sometime in 2009, when he said that mediation is a mark of a mature society. He said it's a cultural leap for society from being a litigious society to a society which believes in collaboration and which believes in problem solving by working together and by working with each other, understanding each other's interests. That indeed really is a mark of maturity of the society itself, making this huge progress. And though we have been into mediation for the past 10 years, COVID has had its bad effects, but one of the side effects which has been really good of COVID is that it has brought mediation into very sharp focus, particularly because it's so amenable to the virtual platforms. So therefore, we can hope for a very bright future. Right now, the Maharashtra National Law University, for instance, has started a course, an MA in mediation. And I can see one of the participants in that course, Mr. Dineshwar Gaur, is present here today. I saw his name in the list of participants. So it's indeed a huge progress. And we can hope that, in the very near future, it will be a very promising career option for all the youngsters who are coming out as lawyers. And what I feel particularly proud of is that we are now not going to be turning out mere gladiators who are going to be fighting in the arena called the court, but we are going to be having a whole generation of peacemakers who will be working towards bringing peace and harmony in society. So thank you and congratulations to all of you. It was an excellently conducted program. And I really enjoyed Mr. Amar Vivek's speech, where he highlighted all the positive aspects of mediation. And thank you very much, Inba Vijayan. Thank you, Dev, Sharu, Suvedan, and all the others who have been instrumental in making this happen. And congratulations to all the participants right from the very beginning, not just the finalists or the semi-finalists, but everyone, because each one of you has taken the step, you have taken that initiative to take part in this competition. So congratulations to all of you. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Start.
Ashritan, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Now I humbly request Mr. Ravi Invavijan, project advisor of KFCRI, to come to the final part of the event and thereby declare the results.
Thank you, Svetan. I think it is the most difficult part to announce, and fortunately, Mr. Jawad gave a mandatory litigation process, opting for mediation. He's forcing me to be an arbitrator to give a win-lose situation. But anyway, it is part and parcel of any competition. I think all the participants did really well. I had an opportunity to watch every level, every rounds, including the quarters, semis, as well as final. I obviously was there. It was really good participation, but any good thing has to end with a conclusion, or which can be acceptable or which cannot be acceptable. But still, we have to accept certain reality in this world. As the final stage has come, I should not just prolong. Otherwise, my team member also would be quite worried. Why sir is just taking so much of time? With Almighty's blessing, I feel that I have to just disclose the winners. There are categories of best mediator, best client counsel pair, as well as best mediation plan from the preliminary rounds. To begin with, the best mediator judged by the final judges is code number M14, Shruti M. Then the best client counsel pair, CC 14, the team members Sanjana Kulkarni and Srirang Ashtaputri. Sorry if I'm not correctly pronouncing.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's correct.
When it comes to best mediation plan from preliminary rounds, it is team CC 13, Rishabh Raju and Abhishek Kurian.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Congrats. And as a part of the second best mediator and second best client counsel pair, the adjudicators have decided the second best mediator to be M23, Mr. Umang Mehta. Congrats. The second best client counsel pair is code CC13, Mr. Rishabh Raju and Abhishek Kurian. Congrats.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, congrats. And all have done really well. And students who couldn't just make it to the quarters or semis or finals, no need to worry. We always have opportunities. Opportunities are abundant. It is just a stepping stone to our success. It is, as Mr. Jawad was mentioning, 33 years before, if you would have found about mediation, he would be the mediation judge. You can say now he will become a mediation judge. Unfortunately, now he's just a mediator and a trainer in mediation. The same thing applies for all of you. This is a competition, and the competition doesn't, the rankings, the best performance doesn't gives you or doesn't facilitates that particular person is the best and others are not to that level. All are best. Best among best has to be identified at the right point of time. Everyone would get an opportunity at the right point of time. For me also same, as Mr. Jawad was very happy to share that. For me, not a long history, for me a short history. You would have taken 5 years earlier, then I also would have become mediator. Unfortunately, I have become an arbitrator. Now everyone is willing to just join the hands with mediation. All these are compliments. Whatever we are going to get, whatever success we are going to get in any competition or any challenging role, it is the best what you have to deliver. The outcome doesn't matter. Please keep in mind, outcome is secondary. You will succeed at some point of time in a particular period and particular aspect. Don't ever be just thinking that, oh, I just lost it, I couldn't achieve it, I have done the best, but still I couldn't get the best what I was expecting. Expectation should be there. Keep on expecting, keep on to the maximum expectation, but there will be a time wherein you will reach that expectation and all will be happy. Thank you. Thank you for the participation from the entire team members. And it is a really good competition for KFCRI, even though it's the first virtual national mediation competition. It has been done really very well. And I have to personally thank the entire the team of judges who invariably reasonable level be the members of KFCRI also as a fellows or affiliates or associates also. They also participated in judging. And we have well-wishers, a lot of mediators, real-time mediators were there judging from the Tamil Nadu Mediation Consultation Center. We are thankful to all of them. And we are very much thankful for the entire KFCRI team, whether the managing committee comprising of Shanmugh, Shahrukh Kumar, Svetan, as well as Nikhila Murugajaraj. Unfortunately, because of some sabbatical issue, she couldn't join. And the bridge with the Legality Viability, Mr. Suman Balaji, and the other associates and the interns. I am really thankful for the entire team to facilitate. And last but not the least, I am thankful for all our KFCRI members. The members are the thriving force. The accredited members and the exempted members are the thriving force for all our activities, and every success is being given to them. Because of them only we have just achieved. And finally, we shouldn't forget about the third eye. Normally, the third eye for a South Indian means a different. The history of Madurai temple only would come. But now the third eye is obviously the technology. We had to thank the technology without giving any hiccups. Otherwise, the technology would spoil the entire thing. And fortunately, the way how the pandemic has facilitated mediation, it also given a good platform for effectively using the technology. Thank you. Thanks to all. Have a wonderful weekend and hope this pandemic would get over and all would go to their offices, or as participants all would at one point of time, you had to go to the schools, the law schools, or the law colleges, enjoy your time online and have a good career in ADR, not only mediation, you also think over arbitration to begin with, tribunal secretary also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such an inspiration parts. Thank you all the judges, and I apologize due to the paucity of time. I couldn't, we couldn't, allow all the judges to speak on here. I apologize for that. But thank you very much, and I congratulate all the participants on the whole. And I would request Mr. Suman to give word of thanks now.
Thank you, Mr. Dev and KFCRI team. So, 90 participants, 40 days, 39 nights, 30 coordinators, 28 judges, 22 sessions, 3 days, 2 organizations, and 1 competition. So KFCRI's first virtual national competition is one of the strikes to further KFCRI's vision to venture into all fields of ADR. Team KFCRI is very grateful to our founder and advisor, Mr. V. Invivigian and Mr. Surya Narmada, and we also thank Mr. Pranav for his graphic support. I'm also sorry that 2 of the participants couldn't join the competition owing to their health condition, and we wish them good health and faster recovery on behalf of KFCRI. We thank all the participants across the lengths and breadths of India for their participation, without whom this event wouldn't have been possible at all. And we would wholeheartedly welcome feedbacks in regards to the hospitality and the organization of the whole event. And last but not least, a special mention to Ms. Kanika Raheja, Ms. Ishita Pathak, and Mr. Path Manha, who are the core team of Legality Viability, for extending the support for this competition. And once again, I congratulate all the winners and the learners of this competition, and hope everyone had fun. Wish you all sound health and a great weekend ahead. Stay home, stay safe, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Suman. Now, for the benefit of all the participants and others here, I would like to ask Mr. Shwetan, one of the managing committee of KFCRI, to give details of the course which you're having in the future. Please, Mr. Shwetan.
Thank you. I will not hold everyone any further. Just 2 minutes before I end this meeting. So, as explained by my colleague, Mr. Shahrukh Kumar, KFCRI is also an accrediting body apart from all its events and trainings. So KFCRI conducts its first ever associate at mediation practice accreditation course, which is to occur in the month of October 2020. So interested participants who are willing to enter the field of mediation can attend this one-day training, which consists of 6 sessions with a role play and an assessment, and thereby getting membership into KFCRI and becoming an accredited mediation practitioner at KFCRI. So details of the same will be again emailed to you and as well as sent in the WhatsApp groups of the competition. Interested participants can contact any of the managing committee members or email us at kfcri.adr@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us and see you soon.
Thank you all. We'll come up with another wonderful opportunity very soon. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.